Daniel Pierce lived a quiet, structured existence. His world revolved around the Brew Haven, a small bistro he'd poured his heart and soul into. Tucked away on a tree-lined street downtown, it was a sanctuary where locals came to escape the chaos of daily life, to savor a moment of tranquility with expertly crafted beverages. Daniel loved everything about his work: the gentle hiss of the steam wand, the intoxicating fragrance of roasted beans, the contentment on customers' faces. It made the exhausting hours worthwhile. But while his professional life flourished, his personal life remained stagnant. Emma Rodriguez, his server, had worked at the Brew Haven for almost 3 years. She was striking, cascading dark hair, a figure that commanded attention even in the bistro's simple uniform. Her short skirt accentuated her curves, drawing appreciative glances from many patrons. Emma possessed an effervescent personality and a contagious laugh that charmed everyone who entered. She'd been dropping unmistakable hints about her attraction to Daniel for months, but he remained seemingly oblivious, consumed by the demands of managing the establishment. Though he secretly harbored feelings for her, his attention never strayed from business operations. One evening, as closing time approached, the sun vanished beneath the horizon, painting long shadows across the pavement. Daniel and Emma were completing their end-of-day tasks, clearing tables, sanitizing surfaces. The streetlights outside began flickering to life one by one when an otherworldly luminescence suddenly flooded the street. "Did you see that?" Emma asked, her voice carrying both curiosity and apprehension. Daniel glanced up, frowning. "Yeah. What on earth was that?" They both gravitated toward the large front window, peering into the darkness. The light was peculiar, a pulsating radiance that seemed to emanate from nowhere and everywhere simultaneously. As they watched, the intensity increased, and a silhouette materialized in the center of the street. "What the hell?" Daniel muttered, his eyes widening. The figure stepped forward, and as it did, the light began diminishing, revealing a woman, or something approximating a woman. She was tall, with an impossibly perfect physique. Her skin appeared translucent, emitting a faint luminescence that emphasized every flawless contour. She possessed large, radiant eyes that seemed to capture ambient light and reflect it with almost hypnotic intensity. Emma gasped. "Is she glowing?" Daniel nodded slowly, unable to look away. "Yeah, and she's heading this way." The woman, no, the extraterrestrial being, approached the entrance, her movements impossibly graceful. Daniel and Emma exchanged an uncertain glance before he moved to unlock the door, his pulse racing. "Are you certain about this?" Emma whispered, trembling. "Not really," Daniel admitted, "but we can't just abandon her out there." He opened the door and the alien woman entered, her luminous skin casting an ethereal glow throughout the space. Up close, she was even more breathtaking. Her features were delicate, almost too perfect to be real. Her eyes, a deep, otherworldly azure, locked onto Daniel's, and he felt electricity course down his spine. "Please," she said, her voice melodious and soft, "I require assistance." Daniel cleared his throat, struggling to find words. Sure, come in, have a seat." Emma stepped forward, curiosity overcoming initial fear. "Who are you?" "What are you?" The alien woman hesitated before responding. "My name is Lyria." "I am not from this world." "No kidding," Emma muttered, then added more gently, "What do you need help with?" Lyria surveyed the bistro, her eyes filled with a peculiar mixture of fear and wonder. I I need shelter, just temporarily. Please." Daniel glanced at Emma, who gave him a slight nod. "Okay," he said. "You can stay tonight. We'll figure everything else out tomorrow." Lyria smiled, and it seemed as though the entire room brightened. "Thank you. You possess great kindness." Daniel led her to a corner table and pulled out a chair. "Sit. Would you like something to drink? Eat?" Lyria looked puzzled. "Drink? Eat?" Emma chuckled softly. "I guess that's a no." Let's start with water, Daniel suggested, heading to the counter. As he poured the water, he couldn't help but steal glances at Lyria. Her presence was magnetic, impossible to ignore. Emma, meanwhile, sat across from Lyria, studying her with fascination and caution. So, Emma began, where exactly are you from? Lyria's eyes flickered with faint light. A place extraordinarily distant from here, a place you would not recognize. That's vague, Emma said, keeping her tone light. Why did you come here? Lyria sighed, her shoulders dropping. I had no alternative. I was escaping. Escaping what? Daniel asked, placing the water glass before her. Lyria took the glass, examining it curiously before taking a small sip. My people. They intended to use me for experiments, to study me. I could not permit that. Daniel and Emma exchanged glances. This situation was becoming increasingly strange. Well, you're safe here, Daniel said, though he wasn't entirely convinced that was true. We'll help however we can. Lyria's smile returned, warmer this time. Thank you. You cannot comprehend how much this means. As they sat together in the dimly lit bistro, Daniel couldn't shake the sensation that his life was about to transform in unimaginable ways. He looked at Emma, who seemed equally mesmerized by their unexpected guest, and felt a strange anticipation building. Whatever was approaching, they would confront it together. The night progressed, and as initial shock subsided, curiosity intensified. Emma, always the adventurous one, decided to probe further. So, Lyria, do you consume anything from Earth? What about chocolate? Lyria's eyes widened slightly. Chocolate? Daniel chuckled. Yeah, it's a sweet delicacy we have here. Let me get you some. He retrieved a small chocolate bar from behind the counter, broke off a piece, and handed it to Lyria. She took it hesitantly, examining it before taking a small bite. The effect was instantaneous. Her eyes closed, and a soft, almost inaudible sound escaped her lips. Oh my, she murmured, her voice trembling. This is extraordinary. Daniel and Emma watched, fascinated, as Lyria savored the chocolate, her body seeming to glow even brighter. The atmosphere shifted, charged with unexpected tension. Daniel felt his pulse accelerate, and a glance at Emma confirmed she felt it too. Lyria opened her eyes, now filled with new intensity. This chocolate, it is unlike anything I have ever experienced. It makes me feel so much. Emma leaned forward, interest piqued. Feel how? Lyria's gaze locked onto Daniel's, and he felt a surge of desire that caught him off guard. It is difficult to articulate, she said slowly. It is like waves of pleasure, but deeper. It touches something fundamental within me. Daniel swallowed hard, trying to ignore the growing heat in his chest. Maybe it's just new to you. Your body isn't accustomed to it. Lyria shook her head. No, it is more than that. It amplifies my emotions, my sensations. Emma's eyes sparkled with curiosity. That's fascinating. I wonder what else you might experience. Daniel shot her a look, but she just shrugged, her playful smile returning. What? It's interesting. Lyria laughed softly, a musical sound that sent shivers down Daniel's spine. You are both extraordinarily kind. I am grateful. As the night continued, they shared more chocolate, each piece intensifying the connection between them. The atmosphere grew increasingly intimate, the boundaries between friendship and something deeper blurring with every passing moment. Lyria's presence was magnetic, drawing both Daniel and Emma into her orbit. They found themselves sitting closer, their touches lingering, their conversations becoming more personal and charged. Daniel couldn't deny the growing desire he felt, not just for Lyria, but for Emma as well. It was as if Lyria's arrival had unlocked something within him, something he'd kept suppressed for too long. Emma struggled with her own emotions. She'd always been attracted to Daniel, but now there was this new, undeniable pull toward Lyria. It was confusing and exhilarating, leaving her feeling unbalanced and vulnerable. At one point, Lyria leaned close to Daniel, her breath warm against his ear. "You have shown me such kindness, Daniel. I want to demonstrate my appreciation." Before Daniel could respond, Lyria's lips brushed against his, sending electricity through his body. He hesitated momentarily, his mind racing, but then surrendered, returning the kiss with unexpected hunger. Emma watched, jealousy flaring but mixed with powerful desire. She moved closer, her hand resting on Lyria's arm, feeling the warmth of her skin. Lyria turned, her gaze locking onto Emma's, and in that moment, something fundamental shifted. Lyria leaned in, capturing Emma's lips in a kiss that was both tender and intense. Emma's initial surprise melted away, replaced by passion she couldn't control. She wrapped her arms around Lyria, pulling her closer, losing herself completely. Daniel watched, his own desire burning hotter. He reached out, his hand sliding up Emma's back, feeling the softness of her skin. The three of them were caught in a whirlwind of emotions, their touches growing more urgent, their kisses more passionate. The night transformed into a vivid kaleidoscope of passion and desire. Each touch, each kiss amplified the sensations they experienced. Lyria's empathic abilities heightened the pleasure, creating an atmosphere of intense emotion and connection. It was as if they were all linked, their desires and feelings merging into one. By the time dawn approached, they were exhausted, lying together in a tangle of limbs, their breathing soft and satisfied. Daniel felt profound contentment, knowing his life had been irrevocably changed by Lyria's arrival. He looked at Emma, curled against him, with a smile playing on her lips, and then at Lyria, who was watching them with pure joy. In that moment, Daniel knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Their bond had been forged in the fires of passion and desire, and it was stronger than anything he'd ever known. He closed his eyes, peace settling over him as he drifted to sleep, his heart full of hope for the future. The next morning, early sunlight streamed through the Brewhaven's windows, casting a warm glow that felt surreal after their intense night together. Daniel felt a strange mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration as he cleaned up the remnants of their passionate encounter. Lyria, her ethereal beauty even more pronounced in daylight, approached Daniel with determination in her eyes. "Daniel, I have something important to ask," she began, her voice filled with earnest intensity. Daniel turned to face her, his heart beating faster. "What is it, Lyria?" "I love Earth," she said, her eyes shimmering with emotion, "especially the chocolate. I want to remain here. Please, can you help me find a way to stay?" Daniel felt a surge of relief and joy. "Of course, Lyria. You can stay with us." Emma, who'd been listening from behind the counter, joined the conversation. "We can make it work. You could even help out here at the bistro." Lyria's face lit up with a radiant smile. "Thank you. I would love that." Daniel and Emma shared a knowing glance, realizing Lyria had become an integral part of their lives. They couldn't imagine the Brew Haven without her now. "Lyria," Daniel said, "how about you start working here? Your unique presence could attract many new customers." Lyria nodded eagerly. "I would be honored. Thank you, Daniel." Lyria quickly became part of the Brew Haven team. Her exotic beauty and captivating manner drew countless new customers, and the bistro flourished like never before. People flocked daily to glimpse the otherworldly server with glowing skin and mesmerizing presence. Daniel and Emma found themselves settling into a new routine. Their world had shifted, but it was a change they embraced. The bond they shared with Lyria grew stronger, a deep, unspoken connection that transcended mere friendship or desire. It was a unique blend of all these elements, forged in the intense emotions of their shared experiences. Emma, in her uniform, continued to captivate Daniel with her beauty and warmth. The playful flirtation and genuine affection they now openly shared brought new energy to their interactions. Lyria's presence had not only intensified their feelings for each other, but also added complexity and depth to their relationship. One evening, as the shop was closing, Daniel looked around at the bustling cafe, now filled with vibrant, palpable energy. He smiled to himself, knowing their lives would never be the same. The contentment and fulfillment he felt was something he'd never experienced before. A decade later, the Brew Haven remained the heart of the community, its popularity only growing over the years. Lyria remained a fixture at the bistro, her appearance unchanged, still youthful, incredibly captivating, and charming. Her presence had become legendary, with new customers constantly drawn in by stories of the enchanting alien server. It was a quiet evening, 9 p.m., and the bistro was about to close. The last few customers trickled out, leaving the place empty and serene. Lyria was wiping down tables, her movements graceful and fluid as ever. Just as she finished, the door swung open and a young, confident, rugged man walked in. His assured stride and intense gaze immediately caught Lyria's attention. She looked up, her interest piqued. "Hey there," she greeted, her voice carrying a hint of flirtation. "We're about to close, but I can make an exception for you." The man smiled, leaning against the counter. "Lucky me, I've heard a lot about this place. And about you." Lyria's eyes sparkled with intrigue. "Is that so? Well, I aim to please. How about a piece of chocolate to go with your beverage?" Their dialogue filled with enticing lines, a playful banter that grew more explicit and exciting with each exchange. Lyria seductively smiled and offered him chocolate. "Try this." "It's something special," she said, her voice dripping with suggestion. The man took the chocolate, their fingers brushing briefly, sending a thrill through both of them. After consuming a few pieces, the atmosphere between them grew charged with anticipation. "How about we take this somewhere more private?" Lyria suggested, her eyes gleaming with desire and mischief. He nodded and she led him to the storage room at the back. The moment the door closed behind them, passion overwhelmed them. They indulged in pleasure, their bodies entwined, moving together in a rhythm that felt both primal and exquisite. Lyria experienced immense pleasure, her body responding in waves of sensation. She cried out in pure ecstasy, her voice echoing through the small space. "Earthly men are my paradise," she whispered breathlessly, "especially with chocolate." The bistro, now empty, stood as a silent witness to the passion and connection that had defined its existence for the past decade. Daniel, Emma, and Lyria had built something extraordinary together, a legacy of love, desire, and the magic of the unknown. Their world had changed forever, and they wouldn't have it any other way.